Most people think motivation is something that just appears when you're inspired. But science tells a different story. Motivation isn't magic. It's a process rooted in biology, psychology, and behavior. It begins with purpose, gets fueled by habits, and stays alive through discipline. Inner strength is not something you're born with. It's something you train, like a muscle. It grows every time you choose discomfort over ease, purpose over pleasure, and progress over procrastination. In this video, we'll break down how motivation actually works, what triggers it, what kills it, and how to rebuild it when it fades. You'll understand the science behind dopamine, habit loops, and mental focus, and how these forces shape your actions every day. If you've been stuck, unmotivated, or wondering why your willpower disappears, this video will give you clarity and a plan, because in the end, motivation fades, but inner strength lasts. And that strength, it's not found. It's built. Here are 10 main things you need to build inner strength. 1, clarity of purpose. Clarity of purpose is the foundation of inner strength. When you know exactly what you're working toward, every action, every sacrifice, and every setback starts to make sense. Without a clear purpose, your motivation becomes fragile. It fades when things get hard, when results don't come fast, or when distractions pull you in different directions. But when your purpose is clear, it acts like a compass guiding your choices even in the middle of chaos. Purpose isn't just about setting goals. Goals are what you want to achieve. Purpose is why you want to achieve it. It's deeper. It's emotional. It's personal. The science of motivation shows us that intrinsic motivation, driven by internal rewards, is far more sustainable than external motivation. When you're chasing a goal just for money, approval, or status, your motivation will eventually crash. But when your actions are tied to something meaningful to you, like changing your life, proving something to yourself, serving others, or fulfilling a personal mission, you'll find strength you didn't know you had. Purpose also simplifies decision making. When you know what really matters to you, you stop wasting energy on things that don't align with that vision. You stop saying yes to everything. You stop comparing yourself to others. You focus. That focus builds confidence. Confidence becomes momentum. Momentum builds discipline. And that discipline is where inner strength grows. Most people wander through life unclear about what they truly want. They chase short-term highs or copy what others are doing. But clarity comes from reflection. It comes from asking the hard questions. What do I value? What kind of person do I want to become? What would make my struggle meaningful? These answers don't always come fast, but asking the questions is the start. Clarity also connects your present to your future. It lets you endure the pain of now because you understand the purpose behind it. If you're training your body, building a business, recovering from failure, or fighting through depression, clarity tells you why it's worth it. It fuels resilience. It makes you consistent when others quit. And in moments of weakness, it reminds you of your why when your willpower runs out. 2, daily discipline. Daily discipline is the engine that turns motivation into results. It's not about doing big things once in a while. It's about showing up every single day, especially when you don't feel like it. The science of behavior change proves that consistency rewires your brain. Every small, repeated action creates neural pathways that form habits, and habits shape identity. You don't become mentally strong by accident. You become strong by doing hard things on purpose day after day until they become who you are. Discipline removes emotion from decision making. Motivation is emotional. It comes and goes. Discipline is action-based. It kicks in when motivation disappears. You may not always feel inspired to work out, study, train, or push through discomfort. But if discipline is in place, you'll do it anyway. That repetition builds trust in yourself. And when you trust yourself to follow through, your confidence grows. That confidence fuels even more action. It becomes a cycle of strength. Daily discipline also builds grit, the ability to persist through frustration, boredom, and setbacks without giving up. When you practice discipline, you're not just training your body, you're training your nervous system to tolerate stress. You're building mental endurance. You're learning to move forward in silence, without applause, without rewards, and without needing instant gratification. That's the foundation of inner strength. The key is making your discipline non-negotiable. It's not about intensity, it's about repetition. 5 minutes of action every day is more powerful than 1 hour once a week. It's about showing up for yourself. Whether it's journaling, reading, training, meditating, or working toward a goal, doing it daily conditions your mind to stay committed, even when progress feels invisible. Because every day you do the work, you're casting a vote for the person you want to become. Science shows that the brain loves patterns. When you perform a task at the same time every day, it becomes automatic. That's when discipline gets easier. You reduce resistance. You lower decision fatigue. You eliminate the debate of should I or shouldn't I? And eventually, what once felt hard becomes part of your identity. You don't wait for motivation. You become the type of person who does the work no matter what. 3, emotional regulation. Emotional regulation is the ability to manage your emotions instead of letting your emotions manage you. Inner strength isn't about suppressing feelings or pretending to be unaffected. It's about being in control of how you respond. Life will hit you with stress, disappointment, rejection, fear, and uncertainty. The difference between someone who breaks and someone who bends lies in how well they handle their emotional state in those moments. Science shows that people with strong emotional regulation have better focus, stronger decision-making, and greater resilience in the face of pressure. When your emotions are out of control, your actions become reactive. You lash out, give up, procrastinate, or fall into negative spirals that damage your mindset. Emotional regulation trains you to pause, observe, and choose a better response. That pause is powerful. It separates impulse from intention. And in that space, you gain power over yourself. You stop feeding fear. You stop reacting to criticism. You stop sabotaging your own progress because of temporary feelings. The brain is wired to protect you from discomfort, and intense emotions can hijack your logical thinking. When anxiety spikes or anger takes over, the amygdala activates and floods your system with stress hormones. Emotional regulation is how you override that hijack. Through mindfulness, breathing, reflection, or reframing, you calm the nervous system and re-engage the prefrontal cortex, your rational mind. The more you practice this, the better you become at staying grounded under pressure. Regulating emotions doesn't mean pretending to be okay. It means feeling what you feel without letting it control your behavior. It's choosing discipline over rage, patience over panic, grace over judgment. And every time you choose a better emotional response, you build strength, because real strength is not just about pushing harder. It's about thinking clearer. When you're emotionally regulated, you become unshakable. You don't let failure define you. You don't let success make you complacent. You don't let other people's moods throw you off balance. You stay locked in. You stay calm. You stay focused on the mission. This emotional consistency is what separates those who endure from those who collapse when things get heavy. Emotional regulation doesn't eliminate the storm. It just teaches you how to navigate through it with control. 4. Physical resilience. Physical resilience is the foundation on which mental and emotional strength is built. The body and mind are deeply connected, and when your body is strong, your mind follows. Physical resilience isn't just about having muscles or endurance. It's about training your body to handle discomfort, stress, and fatigue so you can keep moving forward when others stop. Science shows that regular physical activity improves brain function, boosts mood, sharpens focus, and increases your capacity to handle pressure. Pushing your body through physical limits teaches your brain that pain is not the enemy. It shifts your relationship with discomfort. You start to understand that fatigue, soreness, and strain are signals, not stop signs. You learn to sit with the burn, breathe through the struggle, and keep going even when your body wants to quit. That mindset transfers into every area of life. If you can endure in the gym, on the track, or during a cold shower, you're also training yourself to endure in business, relationships, and personal growth. Physical challenges reveal your inner dialogue. When your muscles ache and your lungs burn, what do you tell yourself? Do you give yourself excuses or push through with power? Every rep, every step, every drop of sweat is a chance to strengthen your mental narrative. You start proving to yourself that you're capable of more than your mind wants to believe. And that belief is where confidence grows. Sleep, nutrition, hydration, and recovery are also parts of physical resilience. It's not just about pushing hard, it's about maintaining the machine that carries you. A tired, neglected body leads to a foggy, reactive mind. But a well-trained body becomes a tool, a weapon you can rely on when challenges hit. You move through life with more energy, better posture, sharper reflexes, and greater control over your impulses. People who cultivate physical resilience become more disciplined in every area of life because training your body daily takes consistency, sacrifice, and patience. You learn to delay gratification. You learn to fall in love with process. You start showing up on the days you don't feel like it. And every time you do, you add another layer of strength to your foundation. Physical resilience is not about perfection. It's about the decision to keep showing up no matter how you feel. 5. Mental focus. Mental focus is the ability to direct your attention with precision and keep it locked on what truly matters. In a world full of noise, distractions, and constant demands for your attention, focus becomes a superpower. Without it, even the most motivated person will waste energy chasing too many things at once and making little progress on any of them. Focus allows you to go deep, work smarter, and make consistent progress toward your goals without getting lost in comparison or overwhelm. The science of cognitive performance shows that multitasking reduces efficiency, increases mistakes, and weakens memory. Every time you switch between tasks, your brain wastes energy recalibrating. But when you train focus, whether through time blocking, meditation, or disciplined routines, you create mental clarity. That clarity leads to better decisions, stronger habits, and faster results. Focus doesn't just help you work harder, it helps you work with direction. Mental focus is also about eliminating distractions before they steal your time. That means being ruthless with your environment, turning off notifications, limiting screen time, saying no to things that don't align with your mission. Your attention is limited, and if you give it to everything, you'll be left with nothing. High performers don't just guard their time, they guard their attention. They know that where your focus goes, your energy flows. Focus sharpens your problem-solving skills. When you're fully present in a task, your brain can connect ideas more quickly and come up with better solutions. You think clearer. You feel more in control, and that sense of control builds confidence. When you can focus, you're not overwhelmed by everything at once. You break things down, take action, and keep moving forward. Mental focus also strengthens emotional control. When you're focused, you're not easily thrown off by distractions, negative thoughts, or external drama. You stay locked in. You train your mind to come back to the task again and again, no matter how many times it drifts. That repetition builds mental endurance, and that endurance becomes the foundation of inner strength. People with strong focus aren't superhuman. They've just trained their minds to ignore what doesn't matter and double down on what does. 6. Delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is the ability to resist short-term pleasure in order to achieve long-term results. It's the mindset of patience, sacrifice, and vision. In a world built on instant rewards, likes, clicks, fast food, quick success, this skill is becoming rare, but it's absolutely essential for building inner strength. When you delay gratification, you're choosing to suffer a little now to win big later. You're training your mind to value what's permanent over what's temporary, and that Shift creates power. The famous Stanford marshmallow experiment showed that children who could wait for a bigger reward instead of taking an immediate treat ended up more successful in life. This principle applies to everything: fitness, finances, learning, growth. When you choose to wake up early instead of hitting snooze, save money instead of spending it, or study instead of scrolling, you're proving to yourself that you're in control. You're saying no to comfort and yes to discipline. That control builds confidence. That confidence fuels momentum, and that momentum turns into strength. Delayed gratification is tied to your prefrontal cortex, the part of the brain responsible for planning, judgment, and self-control. The more you use it, the stronger it gets. Every time you delay a reward, you're literally strengthening the brain's ability to focus, plan, and execute. That means each act of restraint makes the next one easier. You start to trust yourself. You start to believe in your ability to do hard things, and that belief becomes the foundation of resilience. Practicing delayed gratification doesn't mean denying yourself joy. It means choosing joy with intention. It's the difference between mindless indulgence and earned satisfaction. When you delay, the reward means more. You appreciate it. You respect the work behind it. You don't feel guilt or regret because you know it came through sacrifice. That kind of reward reinforces the cycle of growth. This mindset shifts how you see obstacles. Instead of resenting the hard work, you embrace it because you know where it's leading. You become more strategic, more disciplined, more focused on the bigger picture. You stop chasing quick wins and start building something real. Whether it's your health, your mindset, your skills, or your goals, delayed gratification is the silent power behind every form of lasting success. 7. Self-awareness. Self-awareness is the ability to observe your thoughts, emotions, behaviors, and patterns without judgment. It's the foundation of all personal growth because you can't change what you don't recognize. When you're self-aware, you're not just living on autopilot. You're paying attention to why you do what you do. You start to understand your triggers, your strengths, your weaknesses, and the stories you tell yourself. That understanding creates power because it gives you the ability to pause, reflect, and choose a different path when needed. The science behind self-awareness shows that people who are more aware of their internal states tend to have higher emotional intelligence, better decision-making, and stronger relationships. They respond to situations instead of reacting. They take responsibility for their actions. They don't blame others for their failures because they understand their own role in the process. This kind of ownership builds integrity, and integrity builds inner strength. Self-awareness also helps you identify limiting beliefs, the false narratives you've absorbed from childhood, society, or past failures. Beliefs like, I'm not good enough, I always mess things up, or success isn't for people like me often operate in the background until you consciously bring them to the surface. Once you see them, you can challenge them, you can rewrite them, you can replace them with beliefs that serve you instead of sabotage you. That shift in mindset changes how you show up in the world. Being self-aware also means recognizing your emotional responses in real time. When you feel anger, fear, jealousy, or insecurity, self-awareness helps you trace those feelings back to their source. You start asking yourself deeper questions. Why did that trigger me? What fear is underneath that reaction? What story am I telling myself right now? These questions don't just bring clarity, they create space between the emotion and the action. And in that space, you find freedom. With self-awareness, you stop pretending. You stop performing for others. You get honest about your motives, your values, and your vision. You don't just chase goals because others are doing it. You move in alignment with who you really are. That alignment gives you peace. It gives you energy. It gives you direction. And over time, it becomes a quiet strength that no one can take away from you because it's built on truth, not illusion. 8. Controlled environment. Controlled environment means intentionally shaping the spaces, routines, and people around you to support your growth instead of sabotage it. Most people underestimate how much their surroundings influence their mindset, decisions, and habits. But the science is clear. Your environment directly affects your focus, energy, discipline, and even your identity. When your space is filled with distractions, negativity, and temptation, willpower alone won't save you. But when your environment is designed for success, you make discipline easier and failure harder. Your physical environment matters. A cluttered, chaotic space creates mental noise. A clean, organized space promotes clarity and calm. Even simple changes like laying out your workout clothes the night before, removing junk food from your kitchen, or creating a dedicated space for work can have a powerful effect on your behavior. These small adjustments reduce decision fatigue and make it easier to stay on track without constantly battling yourself. Your digital environment matters too. Every notification, every feed, every endless scroll competes for your attention. If your phone is filled with apps that distract you, if your social media is filled with people who make you feel less than, if your online time drains your focus instead of feeding your mind, your environment is silently pulling you away from your goals. Curate what you consume. Choose inputs that elevate your thinking instead of dilute it. Your social environment is just as important. The people around you either challenge you or enable your excuses. They either reinforce your highest standards or drag you down to their level. Controlled environment means setting boundaries, protecting your energy, and sometimes walking away from relationships that no longer align with your values. It means seeking out mentors, accountability partners, and communities that encourage your growth and hold you to a higher standard. A controlled environment isn't about being rigid. It's about being strategic. It's creating systems that support your focus, remove friction, and help you stay aligned with your vision even when motivation is low. You don't rise to the level of your goals. You fall to the level of your systems. And your environment is the foundation of those systems. When you take control of what surrounds you, you take control of what shapes you. You stop reacting and start designing your life in a way that supports strength, not weakness. 9, growth mindset. Growth mindset is the belief that your abilities, intelligence, and talents can be developed through effort, learning, and perseverance. It's the opposite of a fixed mindset, which assumes your qualities are set in stone. When you adopt a growth mindset, failure doesn't scare you. It teaches you. Challenges don't break you. They build you. You stop asking, am I good enough? And start asking, how can I get better? That shift in thinking creates resilience, hunger, and long-term strength. The science behind growth mindset shows that people who believe in their ability to grow are more likely to take on difficult tasks, bounce back from setbacks, and stay committed to long-term goals. They see effort as the path to mastery, not a sign of weakness. They embrace feedback instead of avoiding it. They keep moving forward even when progress is slow or invisible. That perseverance builds character, and that character becomes the backbone of inner strength. A growth mindset changes your relationship with mistakes. Instead of seeing them as proof that you're not enough, you see them as opportunities to refine your approach. You start to welcome discomfort because you understand that discomfort is the price of growth. You don't need to be perfect. You just need to be willing. Every time you choose learning over ego, effort over avoidance, you strengthen the belief that you can become more. This mindset also kills comparison. When you believe you can grow, you stop measuring your worth against someone else's timeline. You stop thinking in terms of, I can't, and start thinking in terms of, not yet. That small mental shift unlocks persistence. It turns setbacks into stepping stones. It turns pressure into practice. You don't take failure personally. You use it as data. You don't fear being behind. You focus on building forward. A growth mindset feeds every other form of inner strength. It fuels discipline because you know the work matters. It fuels emotional regulation because you understand that struggle is part of progress. It fuels focus because you're no longer chasing validation, you're chasing improvement. You become a student of your own potential, committed not to looking good, but to getting better. And in that commitment, you find a strength that's unshakable because it doesn't depend on outcomes. It grows through the process. 10. Consistent action. Consistent action is the force that turns vision into reality. It's the repetition of effort day in and day out, regardless of how you feel. Many people wait for motivation to strike before they act, but true inner strength is built when you move without waiting for perfect conditions. The key is not intensity, it's consistency. A small step taken every day is more powerful than a giant leap taken once in a while. It's not about doing everything at once. It's about doing something every single day that aligns with your purpose. The science of habit formation shows that repeated behaviors become automatic over time. When you commit to consistent action, you remove the emotional friction that often holds people back. You stop asking, do I feel like it today? And you start asking, what must be done today? This mindset shift changes everything. You move from being reactive to being intentional. That intention builds discipline, and discipline becomes the root of confidence. Consistent action compounds over time. At first, the progress is invisible. It feels slow. It feels like it's not working. But consistency works in silence. It builds momentum quietly until one day the results show up all at once. People who lack inner strength give up during the invisible phase when results haven't arrived yet. But those who stay consistent, who keep showing up when no one's watching, who keep putting in reps behind the scenes, they become unstoppable. This principle also applies to mental and emotional growth. Showing up for yourself by journaling, reflecting, reading, or building new skills every day adds layers to your resilience. Every time you take action despite doubt, fear, or fatigue, you send a message to your mind, I don't stop. That message becomes your identity. You begin to trust yourself. You no longer need motivation. You become the kind of person who keeps going no matter what. Consistency also builds clarity. When you're taking action every day, you start to learn what works and what doesn't. You adjust. You evolve. You get better with each step. That forward motion becomes addictive. You realize that progress doesn't require perfection. It just requires commitment. You stop chasing motivation and start mastering consistency. And through that mastery, you build the kind of strength that never fades.